Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Creators Call Shop here on YouTube. Today I'm going to share with you something that I have started doing after I finish a project, and it's just a fun way that I have now of cleaning up, and it also helps me to use up all the little oddball pieces that you have left over. So I don't know about all of you, but generally when I'm working I try to have like a little dish handy of some sort to throw everything into. And then at the end you have all these little pieces and scraps and itty bitty parts left over. So what I'm going to do today is take my tray here of all of these leftover parts, and then I have some bases and things that I'm going to try to use, but we're going to try to make clusters and embellishments. Okay, so what is a cluster? If you're new to this whole junk journaling thing, that term might be a little bit oddball and sound weird to you, but a cluster is just a random grouping of elements to make an embellishment. And I'll show you some here that I have done in the past, and they can be as informal or as fancy as you want them to be. I'm going to hold that one like that because you can see this one is more structured with specific shapes and then a focal point with that cute little sentiment on it. So they can go in all kinds of directions. They can be paper. This one is scraps that I've had for forever, and I just layered them up and stuck a random sticker on there. But now I can decorate a page or a pocket or envelope or what have you with these. So let me show you a couple more. You can also use fabrics instead of papers, or in this case I mixed them up. I did paper and fabric, which is probably one of my most favorite things to do. And then I had this scrap that was torn out of a book, and I just made that my focal point. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and get yourself situated with your drink and your comfy seat, and I will be right back, and I'll kind of talk you through the basics of how I like to do this. All right, let's talk about some of the things that you might want to just have handy before you get started. First of all, what you want to have handy are all your leftovers and your scraps. So in anticipation of this video, I actually have quite a lot of stuff here. I don't usually have this many items left over after a project, but this has literally just kind of been compiling since some of this stuff I see in there was from my fall journals, and then I see Christmas, I see my last 2 or 3 projects. So what I do is just kind of toss all those little bits and pieces aside, and you can decide how big of a piece you want to keep, because frankly, in my opinion, some of them are too tiny to mess with, but you know, it's just kind of up to you. But then I have some little things like this. See these tiny little stickers? They're so cute, but they would make a cute little accent or element on a tag or on just one of these little embellishments we're gonna do. So it's kind of up to you how big a piece you want to save or how small. The next things you're gonna want, you may want to ink up around the edges of your different pieces. Just depends on what kind of look you want. I brought these 3 little ink pads over because they're tiny, and then that way I don't have to fuss with being up and down on a lot of ink pads. So I just have my inkers, and then these are the pads that I use with these colors, so I know I'm all ready to go. You definitely want some glue, which I forgot to grab, so I'll grab that in a sec. You definitely want to grab some scissors, either for smaller, you know, more control, or just a ginormous one, whatever you feel comfortable cutting with. And you want a stapler of some sort. Very often I just use my big full-grown stapler, my fully mature stapler. No, I mean my basic office stapler. And then this is the Tim Holtz ones that does the little tiny, it's called the tiny attacher, but see how the staples are kind of itty bitty, so it's nice and it's very comfortable to squeeze, so it's a very handy one to have, but any old stapler will do. And then, like I said, the glue, then all your random pieces that are left over. So let's talk about why you might want to do these in advance. One of the reasons that you might want to have these made up in advance is because it's very handy when you're going through to decorate a journal to just have some of these little elements ready. And recently I was chatting with my friend and she said, well, how do you know what to make? She finds it easier to make as she goes. And then we see a lot of people on YouTube and places making in advance. Well, I'll be honest, when I first started, I made the embellishments and things for each individual journal as I went. And it's fine, it's totally fine to do that because sometimes you just have all the ideas right there. However, if you're making one of something, it's just as easy to make two and have it on hand for later, generally speaking. And as you go along, you'll become more comfortable with the types of journals that you are going to be making. You're already going to know what it is that you want to make. So for instance, in my case, my known themes, the things that I know I'm going to make a lot, are generally I'm going to have something to do with cooking, garden, whether that's garden that you eat out of or flower garden, farm themes, florals, anything with flowers is going to go with pretty much anything you make. Faith, I know that most of my projects are based to have some sort of faith element in them, so anything with a faith twist, like this one that had the scripture on it, that's going to be fine because I will use it in pretty much any project I make. Masculine, which I still have yet to start making, but that's still one of the things that I want to make, more masculine themed journals and things. So I'm going to make ephemera or embellishments to go with that. Seasonal / Christmas. I kind of feel like Christmas is a category in and of itself because there's so much that you can have for Christmas, but seasonal as in fall, spring, summer, not necessarily a Thanksgiving, but you could also include holiday, so Thanksgiving, 4th of July, or birthday. Maybe you do a lot of your journals around family birthdays or family celebrations, so you could make some embellishments about that, just have them handy, and then when you're writing on the page, you just have a little cute thing to put on there. And let me tell you, this is so much less money and so much more individual, more unique in your projects than going and buying stickers. Now, I've bought tons of stickers in my life. Don't let me fool you. But these just add a special element to a page. And this literally is random paper scraps, a fabric scrap, and I think this was like some kind of postage thing from something I ordered long ago, and then a piece of a book page that doesn't, by itself, this book page is nothing. It was just, there's no words, not even a whole picture. There's just this number 39. So I layered it up so the 39 shows, but it adds an interesting element. There's some blue back here and the number back behind this. And then I can put this, I could even put this on something a little more firm and make it a pocket or a tuck spot actually on a journal. So I could make it a little side pocket for a small tag, like this, or just a tuck spot where you would tuck a bigger journal card behind it like that. So it's really fun. They're just fun, and you feel so accomplished when you're all done because you've not only made the project you were going to make, but then you've made some more useful things from that. And sometimes you don't want to start a whole project, but you want to do something creative. This will help with that. That'll give you that fix that you need to just make something once in a while. Other themes, butterflies. Butterflies go in lots of projects. So for me, I know I would probably use butterflies in something. And then for specific projects, for instance, I know I have tons of Christmas journals still that I want to make, tons of children's themed. More specifically, I'm going to be making the Little Red Hen coming up sometime. I don't know how soon I'll get to that one, but that's on the list because that was one that we got voted for at the beginning of the year. I know that I want to do a Holly Hobby journal or two in the fall, probably. I know that I have nature themed. I know that in the back of my mind, I have some stuff set away for those kinds of journals. So if I make embellishments that fit those themes, I know that they will get used. what do we want to use them on? I think I talked about that already, but tags and cards, they're great for decorating tags and cards, decorating up your envelopes that you add to your journals, on your pockets, and just as a nice embellishment on a page to just dress up a page. So let me clear some of this away and then we'll just get started. I think I'm going to end up probably doing more talking at this point than I am creating, but I'll try to get started so we don't waste time. Also, I was going to point out that you can also use some of these pieces and make your altered paper clips that you then slide onto a page, and it just dresses up the page, but it also, where you need a paper clip, this is just one example. In fact, I made this a long time ago for a journal and I still haven't used it in anything yet, but it's there. And actually sometimes I just use it for inspiration because I honestly couldn't remember how I made it before. So all right, so some of my pieces, the way I have them organized, I'm mixing my fabrics and papers, which I just love to do. I have this little cheapo coin tray that came out of something somewhere along the line, but it has all the divided sections in it, and that's so helpful because then I can kind of divide up my elements in a way that makes sense to me. And this is just what makes sense to me. It's not how you have to do it. But for me, my teeny tiny pieces of fabric or paper, these are more focal points that I could use for a focal point. And then these are just little snips. And then these are just little scraps that can be layered up. So I kind of divide them by size so that I can keep track of everything. But that's just the way my mind works. And I realize there are people who don't need that, and I applaud you all, but I have to be a little organized or I don't have any fun. These are a little bit longer strips and pieces of fabric only, and then the same thing in the paper. And these also have more things that can be used as focal points or possibly even as backgrounds, like this. See, this could be a background. It could be on a base. Not saying I would put these two together, but for example, you'd have a base. This could be in the background, and then you could layer something over it to be the focal point, you know, as in, I'm saying that and I'm not finding anything, but say like you wanted to do one that was beach themed or tropical themed, and then you know that this could be in the background, you could layer more on top of it. So that's kind of how I do it. And then that's just a starting point. Over here, I have the bases that I can, if I want to make clusters or whatever, it's useful to just have your bases laid out. I kind of do a little bit of the mass making assembly line kind of thing because that's easier. Then I have the base, then I can layer all the little elements on top of it, and that's how I tend to go. Some of these are, as you can see, are print script or things that, you know, that have some kind of news print on them. I've got these two guys that I think would be great to add on to layer up. And then back here, I just have the wider elements that are just long, skinny strips or chunky blocks or whatever. Like this could be a base, so I can stick it over there. And then I have, you know, pieces of paper, and as we go, some of you guys will really probably recognize a lot of pieces from past projects. Then these are my much bigger pieces that don't fit in that tray, so they're just sitting off to the side in case I want to grab a little bit of that. And then this one I was going to talk about, this is a tag, and I've watched several videos where people save their packaging tags and stuff. I don't think I need to save every tag because there's a lot of paper out there. I just throw them in the recycling. But I liked this one because of that beautiful bee and how that's layered up, and I just kept it on the tag so I could keep it nice till I'm ready to use the bee. And then this right here, these could be layered up or they could be bases, but I think I'm going to actually end up using them layered up on something. And then I also had these where the squares popped out, the centers popped out. These were just little paper embellishments from a really old pad, but they look like slide mounts to me. So I could make slides, and I've got some acetate here from packaging, and then that will be the middle of my slide. So I would just back them to each other and then put the acetate, and then I can put some other focal point. You actually want 2 sheets of acetate, so I'll have to get some more out, but you back the acetate to here on each piece, and then you can put something in the middle so it looks a little botanical or whatever. And then I have like a cute little slide mount, but these are different. You know, they don't look like your typical slide mount. These have a little bit of whimsy and character. So, you know, things like that. So that's just kind of what we have going on, and I'm going to get started. I'm going to just speed up the camera and we'll see what I can do in the next little bit without this video getting too long. All right, so here we go. So one thing I forgot to mention was that these old playing cards, some of these were not quite nice enough to use as ephemera or whatever, but I can still use them as a base. So this one, for instance, I might go over it with a sanding block and kind of scuff it up a little bit and make it look antique-y, or I could go over it with some paint or some gesso. Right at the moment, I don't know what I'm going to do. I could also put some... I could Mod Podge like tissue paper or pattern tissue or something like that, and then kind of make it muted. So we'll just see. Or vellum. Vellum would work. I have vellum sitting here, so that might be what we do. I don't really feel like dragging out the paint right now. Okay. So those are just some examples of ways to do your bases. And then you just don't want to think about it too much. Just don't overthink it. Just make it happen, because that's where the fun comes in. Okay, so now I have my layers, and I hope that you can see okay what I'm doing. There we go. Okay, so then what I want to do is find the next layer that I might put down. So for instance, these over here are kind of plain, so I'd want something patterned. These are patterned. I'd probably want to either layer another pattern or maybe something a little more plain. So I have this here, which is kind of fun. And I can layer that up. Like I said, don't think about it too much. You can tear up your edges. You can just leave them however, you know, you can leave them straight. You can do really whatever you want. So I have this scrap, and I think I like it when there are these torn edges here. So the way I want to orient these are so those torn edges can be taken advantage of. And then I might layer a torn over a straight edge and vice versa, just because I think that breaks it up visually. So the color on this, I'd kind of like it to be, I'd like this whole thing to show. And I think I'd kind of like it to extend a little bit. Well, then I can't see this, can I? So how do I want to do that? Sometimes you have to sacrifice elements that you really like in order to get the look that you want. So maybe I don't want to use it on that one. Maybe I want to use it on this one right here. No, I don't. I really want it on this one. Well, let me just find one that'll work on better, if there is one. I know. See, I'm already fussing too much, and that's really contrary to the goal. So I guess on this one, we'll just cover up these holes. Now, when you're layering it or gluing it, you want to be aware, if you're trying to slide things in and out, they will catch on this. So just be careful how you use it afterward. Although I could do this and then maybe turn it a little bit. Let's get to where you can see what I'm doing. And I could turn it just a little bit so you can still see the holes, because I really like the holes. I'm married to the holes. And then we just keep going. So this is a sizable scrap, and it fits kind of some of the other sized scraps in here, so I'd probably just stick it in the appropriate category. So now here's one like this. So where would I want this? This little scrap going in the trash. I give you all permission to throw away your dinky little scraps that have absolutely no use and no value. Okay, there you go. You've been released. Now remember, your tags don't have to go up and down. They can go sideways, however you want them to look. And I kind of like how that looks on there. I'm not even gonna, you could paint this. You could do whatever. You could ink it up, but I'm not gonna do that. I like it how that has contrast there. This was a tag I made. It's just sitting around. It's random, so it's gonna get decorated. Let's see, these guys fell out. So where do I want you? I don't know. If I can't quite decide right off the bat, then it just needs to go back. And I like you too. What am I gonna do with you? I'll put you over here. I like how you stand out over there. Okay, so now at this point, I'm just gonna go forward without talking, and then I can get some more done. Okay, so I would say this one is kind of ready for a focal point at this point because I've got all these backgrounds on here, and you'll notice that it's got more of a structured look. So now we just want to find something that would look pretty on the front that kind of draws the eye in, and I could even add some more book page if I want. So let's see what we got here. I got some leftover tickets over here from Pam. That's not doing it for me. It's too small. That one's Christmas. I haven't put any fabric or anything on it though, so we could certainly add a little snippet here. A little snippet of something. And I don't know, I'm having a hard time on this one. It'll come to me, so we'll just set it aside, but it's basically ready for a focal point. So I'm gonna go ahead and just clip that together and set it aside till I find one. Now you notice I took that out of the pile. It was one I cut out very badly, but it could be a base on something, or it could get layered up like that, you know? All right, this guy is kind of coming along. I'm covering him with vellum. I've got the pink, I like that. I'm not so sure that I really am digging this under there, but I'm gonna keep playing with it and see if I come up with something that I like still. But now we've covered up the kitties, we've muted the wild colors in the background, and I think it's gonna be a little bit more usable. And I tend to go at angles. I like all my things at angles. I'm having a hard time getting going because you all are staring at me. I'm just thinking too hard about what to say and how to explain it, and I'm not concentrating on the actual creating parts, so sorry about that. Now this is pretty with my little tag that I made, and then these words. These were really pretty little, really pretty words that Lori at Positive Thanks Living sent me when I was doing the Hope Journal. So those look nice. Thank you, Lori. This is a piece from some stationery off of a note. And I really thought it was pretty, so I tore it out. So really you can use just about anything that you want. If this wasn't Christmas, that would be gorgeous on there, but it's Christmas, and so I don't really want to do that. How about on here? Which way is up? It's kind of non-directional, so we're going to make that side up. And here's an example. Here's a situation where I could ink it up. And because of the colors in there, I'm going to go with this plum. I just stuck my finger in it. Trying to get it on me. The other day, it was a very sad situation. I spilled, I dropped something that had Fabri-Tac on it, and it fell on my sweats. My really favoritist black sweats that actually look decent when you go out in them. I'm super sad because I don't think it's gonna wash out, because the whole point of it is that it's it lasts in the washing. It's technically, I think Fabri-Fix was the one that I was using, and Fabri-Fix is meant to be washable, which means it's not gonna come out. It's not gonna come out when I run it through the laundry, unfortunately. Okay, there's that. I think I want something dark behind that. Yeah, that's dark. Now here's a random scrap from when I was doing the Hope Journal. There's different ways. If you plan out how you tear, you can either get the white edge or not, and I tend to do it by trial and error, so look at that. Now we have kind of that garden-y theme. Oh, that's cute. Is that all we want? No, we want some lace. Let's do some lace. I have these little random pieces that were the edges, so they don't have to necessarily be the focal point, but they could go in a background. That would look actually kind of pretty. Let me cut off the curled, it's curling. And since it's kind of a triangle, it could overlap and be the corner. And then I could do this, and I could do this. And then if I want later, I can come back and add a word or something. What do you guys think? Is that pretty? Because you can't really tell that that's a shiny book page back there. I like that. And you got this overlapping. You can see this. I got the color. Cute. Okay, so you can use one staple or two. This one's a little bit bigger, so I'm going to use two so that it's secured at both sides. Oops, that didn't work. Why didn't you work? Don't tell me you're out of staples. I don't have time to mess with you. Oh. This one I keep colored staples in, and so I just change them up. So for this one, I would like the green to be the accent staple. And I found these colored staples on clearance a few years ago, totally by accident, so I have no idea when they run out how to get more. Finally, okay. That's cute, super cute. Okay, there's that. Moving right along with the speed of molasses. Let's do, oh, this would be a great Holly Hobby one, wouldn't it? So let's do a Holly Hobby kind of idea. I need my fabric scissors. And you have to be willing to just let an idea go if it doesn't quite work. Like this whole thing here. No, I like the hopeful, I like that tag. This is not working. This, Lori also sent me that, and I kind of took it apart, the stuff that was on it, so I'll just do that. You're going to cover up fairy tale. Okay, what do I want you to do? I really want you, maybe that's what I want you to do. No, what I want is just the strip. That's what I want. I don't want that whole edge. I just want the idea of the fabric. Because that's what I was liking about it. Okay, hopeful. Let's get another piece of lace back there. This one's just a little snippet. Little piece. Let's put you up here. Is it wrong that I'm thinking about cutting up my wedding dress and using it for projects? Here's why. I saved it. I have saved it. We just had our 31st anniversary. And I always had in mind that maybe someday my kids would use it. Well, both my girls are married and neither of them are my size. They're so much smaller than I am. And so I have saved it, but they're not going to be able to wear it. And then the other problem is the lace is starting to... Ooh, I want the blue. The lace is starting to wear and fray. It was made with spandex lace. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm trying to fix my staplers here. Anyway, it was made with spandex lace. Spandex was a new product, and it was meant to make it very comfortable, but it's starting to fray. It's starting to come apart, and I have these big, gorgeous lace panels on there. This could use a flower, so maybe later I'll come back and add like a flower up here, but I don't have any flowers out right now. Yeah, so it's fallen apart, and my kids don't need it. They already got married, and they can't fit in it anyhow, so I kind of feel like it's served its purpose. I don't want to hang on to it for another 30 years for a maybe, like, and since it's fraying and coming apart anyway, nobody's going to want it, and I can't sell it, so... I held on to it too long, but I think to honor the memory and preserve the beautiful pieces of lace and all the little pearls I had, I think that I should use it to make something. I'll have to see what that something turns out to be, but I'm going to just tie you through there. So now this can be a tag or it can be an element on a page. Either way, let's stick you through there. Having trouble grabbing it. There we go. Hold on. Either way, it will look cute and hopeful. Okay, so there's another one done. How long is our video? Yeah. We may just have to make this 2 videos. I don't know. Yeah, this would be really cute with a little flower right there, so I'm going to be on the lookout for that. Let's do one more. I kind of like the pink of this and the pink of these. I also like the romance of the lace, but it covers up my rose. I kind of wanted the rose to show. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that could go behind instead of... What I do want to do is scuff that up. Hold on. I have this teeny tiny little sanding block that came from like a nail appointment or something way back, and I just held onto it. Shaking of the camera, watch out. I'm gonna go over that, I think, with just a little bit of the sepia. Let's see what happens. Just kind of age it up. We're trying to make it look aged and weathered and take off some of the shiny. Now these don't just, these archival ones, the archival brand, don't behave in the same way as like the Distress inks do, but they will ink it up and take some of the shine off. There we go. Now we're getting some color. Probably would help if I put it on the table, wouldn't it? That would have been a fantastic thing to do. Squeaking, sorry about the squeak. That can get really irritating. Okay, that kind of helps. Maybe I'll go around the edges so it adds the brown without me squeaking. There we go. Okay, now let's see what we got. See if there's any left on here. Maybe you're just too bright. That could be the problem with this too, is it's just too bright. So I don't think there's any ink left on there. Okay. Yeah, it's not working. It's not doing anything. Okay, so I have you. Maybe I should make you go sideways. You know what else doesn't work is that this is white and we're wanting this to be off-white. So let's go off-white. Hi, Chloe. There we go. Maybe that should go on top. Nope, underneath. I like it underneath. It still needs something like it needs something else. Let's see. Let's try some Teabag Wisdom. Here, why don't you, oh, here. Let's do this one instead. I think I want it to go kitty corner. Diagonally, maybe. I want it to just peek out and give me the idea of lace without, there we go. Okay, and then I have these tea bags. You know, the tags. If you truly love nature, you will find beauty everywhere by Vincent van Gogh. Well, there we go, old Vincent. Okay, let's put some ink on that too. It already has the tea on it because of falling in my cup, but I feel like this sienna is not doing the job here. Let me try it this way. There we go. Also, another fun little trick, if you want to ink up your strings, I'm going to do it on the back here. You can, I'm just using the back of this one so you can see. But then you just ink it up, run it underneath your inker, and then it looks like it fell in the tea also. If you truly love nature, you will find beauty everywhere. Okay, now that I'm looking at this, the composition of it, I rather think I'm gonna like that on top better. Running maybe like that. Come here, tea bag. I always like to tuck the strings under. Aha! See? Okay, okay. Now, what color do I have? I need green or pink. I'm gonna do green. There we go. I just like the look of two staples. I don't know why. Okay, there's one. Okay, so far, my time, I feel like my time is running out, but so far we got this one, we got this one, we got this one. Move you guys out of the way. We started this one, so this one needs a focal point, and I'm not 100% convinced about that snippet of white lace either. So let's take that one out. I've got this though. This is a piece from like a book. Confidence. I am not confident in how this is turning out. Maybe confidence needs to go on the cats. Cats are confident, and it's already got that vellum piece back there. Confidence. You can't tell that the balloons are going which way the balloons are going. I'm kind of doing everybody square today. It's kind of odd. Usually I do oddball angles, and it just kind of depends on how all the elements come together. What if we make you go like that? Squiggly. Okay, you know what that needs? It needs some ink around the edge to give it a definition. And Mr. Sepia Tone was not working for me very well, so we'll just do it like this. He might be getting out of ink. I've had these a while. It would not surprise me. Okay, cuties. Okay, I like you being kind of quirky shapes. You know, it would really help is if I tacked this down with some glue, but I didn't want to stop now. Okay, let's put you up there. Let's put the part with the glue side down, the paper that got glued on there, and put confidence. And then we'll use the pink staples. Hold on, everybody stay together for a minute. Okay, there we go. I need to keep playing. Maybe I'll just come back in another episode and finish this playtime. Okay, so we did confidence. We got our pretty flowers. We got the rose garden and nature. And we got hopeful. Okay, so that's what we've got today. Thanks for joining me. Today's quote is also a piece of teabag wisdom, and it says, "The secret of change is to focus your energy not on fighting the old, but building the new." That's from Socrates. Okay, everybody take care, and until next week, I want you to be inspired and do something creative today. Bye-bye.